And it looks like we are officially live. What is going on, everyone? Flame Masters coming back at you with another episode recap, episode 7 of this, in my opinion, really, really good season of Hell's Kitchen, The American Dream. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Ultra Natic Productions. Ultra, how are you doing today, my guy?
Doing pretty well, like usual. Happy that I got a chance to watch this episode live, and just happy to get my thoughts where I can.
All right, guys, and obviously, if you're wondering right now, obviously I had a thumbnail and freaking made an announcement. Well, not announcement, but I did say we would be joined by Charlene tonight. Unfortunately, she had. I made a comment earlier as well too. Unfortunately, she had internet problems today right before the episode started. Unfortunately, so it's just me and Ultra again. But hey, you know what? We can still have some fun. Obviously, we had a lot of fun last week. Like I said, we're gonna try to stay a little more on top of it this time, no matter. So please don't try to test me. Test me in the comments, guys. All right, trust me. But regardless, yeah, even if we stay on topic, we'll hopefully discuss a really, really fun episode of Hell's Kitchen. Just another fun episode so far. Ultra, what did you think about the episode? Before we talk about anything, what did you think about the episode in general?
I'll again, maybe a teensy bit tame. I do like how it ended at the very least, because of like just how the team that lost crumble. I'm not trying to give everything away fast because we're gonna like build up to that. I like the challenge. I like seeing who the guest chef was. I don't think I'd ever seen this chef before, but he seemed like a pretty cool chef. I liked, and again, it's just a couple like little small moments that maybe didn't get like a big flashy edit that resonate with me at least a little bit. Like that's what I like about a lot of these seasons.
Cool. Yeah. All right, guys, like I said, already over almost 80 people in here. Thank you so much. So yeah, as usual, get your questions, just the two of us. We don't want to be talking the whole time. Get your comments involved, ask us questions about the episode. And yeah, let me see if there's any other comments worth bringing up before we officially get into it. And see some comments. Again, we'll get into those comments, guys, when it comes up. Again, very big episode for Demir. We'll talk about that. This guy is saying, we got Clark saying Demir feels like the male version of Kim. That's a hot take. I don't know. I'm sure about that one.
I guess in terms of Kim or Ryan.
Yeah, because I feel more Ryan. Yeah, if anything. Yeah,
like same first name, so it could be just like honest mistake there. I don't know.
Yeah, this was a huge episode for Demir. So he's going to be a star of the episode. What's up, Wayne? He's got this episode is entertaining. Yeah, so. All right, cool. All right, so let's kind of talk about it to start. So we get the grill challenge because tonight was steak night in Hell's Kitchen, right? And yeah, let's just kind of talk. Really not much of substance, to be honest, here, this challenge. So we'll go over it really quickly here. We did get upset to start, right? Sandra over Ryan. That was quite the upset. We got Demir over Ashley. We got Lee. We will talk about Lee in a second. Lee over Jason, Sammy, and Jonathan once again both dominating. Both got a point. And Carmen would win it for the red team over Devin, and Daniel over Jermaine. So yeah, Ultra, what did you think about this challenge? Are there any big time surprises, upsets? Anything to add about this challenge for you?
At this point, I think that they were putting Danya versus Jermaine out of precedent at that point, because they've been doing it for a few times now. If I'm tracking right, I think this will have been the third time they did that. And it's kind of humorous when you see like the same team ups over and over again. For Lucas, I think Ashley meant Atoye. Atoye's name is Ashley. She just goes by Atoye on the show.
Yeah.
But I did find that kind of interesting. I had full faith in Jonathan's dish. It looked absolutely decadent. Like normally that kind of confidence can usually mean, oh, there's something wrong with it. I was looking and I was like, I don't see anything wrong with it. So, maybe it's actually going to be good. I think the only dish that I was immediately like, yeah, that's going to backfire was Devin's dish, where he sliced it too early, and because of that, it overcooked. I think something I heard somewhere, y'all can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but you know how they're always saying like it's bleeding onto the plate? That's not actually blood. I forget what it is, but I think it, like, at the very least, it looks like it'd be blood, so maybe that's why people always say that. But all the same, it's probably not the best thing to have on your plate after slicing it, because that does show that you weren't thinking about the actual cooking/plating procedures. Otherwise, I don't think there are any major upsets, but overall, I like the challenge.
Yeah. And real quick, Grant, like I said, I'm sure you're coming in late. Charlene couldn't make it due to internet connection. So, guys, if anyone comes in here asking about Charlene, so I don't have to keep repeating myself, if you guys could just give a quick comment to the person who comments that, just to kind of keep them updated, I will appreciate that, because I don't want people wondering what happened. she's very much alive. It's just, again, internet connection's down right now.
Happens.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, the only really notes, again, kind of a tame challenge, right? I will say it's kind of funny. Everyone's bringing up how the Dave and Buster's reward was kind of an interesting one. But as far as the challenge goes, real quick, once again, Jonathan, they just threw that in there at the last second. This time they didn't even like give him like a backstory or anything. There's like Jonathan's confident and he wants to get delivered. So just more, in my opinion, winner edit type stuff right there. They had no reason. They could have given that to anyone who did well tonight, but they give it to Jonathan. And Lee, I mean, she was invisible last episode, so much to the point where it just got me so upset that the conversation kind of went off track at that point. But yeah, she finally got a big moment this episode. I don't know who the guest judge was, but she got her moment to shine, right? So yeah, what do you think about? Is just a big thing for Lee, you think, or just kind of threw it in there to kind of pass the time and whatnot? Kind of give something to this challenge. What's your take on this for Lee?
I do think that it does show Lee or continues to show Lee, I should say, in a more heroic light, because I've often seen before on the show people having no respect for the guest judges, and I don't mean the bad guest judges. You've made a video on people like that before. I'm talking about like just the normal guest judges who are just being professionals, and they're just like, yeah, my cooking's good. You didn't know anything about it. No, Lee does have that respect and just want to. It kind of reminded me actually of of when Dave in season 6 first showed his signature dish to Gordon Ramsay. He just had such high respect for him that he knew that if it was bad, it would have just emotionally crumbled him. Same thing with Lee for this guest judge. And I'm happy that it worked out for her. Also, I saw somebody comment under, the Jonathan uses punishment pass. Yeah, I noticed, not like they don't even give the choice. Maybe they cut that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they cut it. I'm sure they gave him a choice. I guess that means if I'm going to keep it on for a while, so they don't feel like repeating over and over again, wasting like an extra minute or so. But yeah, all right, cool. And then yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I don't think this is, again, I've seen a couple people talk about this was not the most interesting reward. Again, not really the most interesting punishment in my opinion. Just having to scrape the grills, and not the most interesting or fun reward of all time. Dave and Buster's. So yeah, I mean, anything. So any comments from you, Ultra, about the punish? I mean, I'm trying to think. Did anything even really happen? Like usually during a punishment, well, real quick, I did think of something. Right? The red team ended a losing streak of 4 in a row, and that's the thing that shows how catty is on both sides. Because I was just going to say, usually during the punishments, that's when we see a whole bunch of arguing and whatnot, and and has been from the red team, from like the likes of Renisha, who to be fair is gone now, right? But maybe there's more cohesiveness from the blue team, which obviously didn't carry over to service tonight. But yeah, any other comments you have or chat that goes for you about the this reward challenge and everything that came with it?
A part of me wants to say that maybe the Dave and Buster's part of the reward was potentially a product placement, because it's one of the more recognizable names for destinations for a reward that I think I've heard in Hell's Kitchen in recent, because I go to Dave and Buster's once in a while. But most of the places I hear on this show, I'm like, never heard of it, but I'm sure it's luxurious. And then, yeah, as far as the punishment goes, the most I had was that one, yeah, this show really likes to give the contestants a hard time, because Jay literally says, we got all these instruments here, these supplies to clean out the girls. Great. Screw that. We don't like losing. So I'm going to give you the harder thing to clean them with, these tiny little toothbrushes. And I was like, oh, I would so hate being in that position. And then, yeah, the other thing was I found it kind of amazing that Jason, during punishment, again, like Jason has had a better attitude on punishments than you would expect given his usual demeanor. People haven't liked him very much just because of his general attitude, but it's not like an attitude of screw this, I don't want to do the work. No, he's cool with doing the work, and I respect him a teensy bit for that. I still say he's probably my least favorite chef still in the competition, but it is something about him that I gotta give him a little bit of credit for.
Yeah, well, I did see a comment though. Like it was surprising. He was really more interested in doing grills and playing games. Like, damn, man, what's you really putting that?
Who's like that? Joseph. Like he was on the board once with Gordon Ramsay, and he was like, "No, I don't want to do this reward." I'm like, I'm not here for that. I'm like, really? You don't want to have these nice rewards? Okay, you do you.
I thought about doing something like that, doing a future like challenges come back and whatnot. That sounds like a good idea for sure. All right, let's see if there's any other comments to get to. But yeah, any other? So yeah, any other comments or that I didn't get to about this reward challenge or not? Or should we get on into?
I guess like something that could be done between either one of us. Maybe a compilation of chefs who enjoyed the punishments they had to endure, or the chefs who hated the rewards they went on, because there are a couple of those all throughout Hell's Kitchen.
I said something on the worst rewards. I know like Jackie like comes to mind. She hated that reward.
Joseph, obviously. Randy didn't in season 14 didn't like going to the spa, and I was like, dang, you look like you're like being put down for surgery or something, dude.
All right, yeah. All right, cool, yeah. So not really much of substance. Again, a little, for Lee and Jonathan both had, you could say, winner-esque type moments and whatnot. But yeah, really nothing else. So let's kind of get into, once again, starts at 7:26. It's been for every episode so far. The service starts when the people come in, start at 7:26 my time. So once again, and so far it's been either good or bad. So let me ask you, Ultra. I asked you this last episode. With this being steak night, the teams had their best service yet. Were you expecting, now that you knew it's going to be steak night, first of all, what do you think about steak night? Do you feel like that's been like a good or bad service over the years? And did you think we're in for a good or bad service tonight? And chat, that goes for you as well.
I know that it usually is to like some very memorable mistakes. I mean, the same kind of mistake. Like it's going to usually be like, steak overcooked or undercooked, often undercooked. But yeah, when I think of steak nights, one of the first nights I think of is back in season 10, the big Robin and Kimmy fight that we had. I slipped there. Robin and Kimmy fight that they had back there, because that was steak/family night. So that's just an indicator of like, it can get really crazy on nights like this. And yeah, this is pretty hectic. Not specifically because of the meat, although, yeah, it does get to that point. It's just because a couple other things led up to that. But I was like, okay, it's steak night. I feel like something's going to go down. And, yep, something kind of went down. So
yeah, there's been, I feel like a lot of iconic, because it is steak, like if you, and I think that's what, we'll get to Sandra here in a second. I feel like that's what Rams is going for, putting those, not the kind of, if you have a weak chef on steak and they get overwhelmed with all the orders, right? The meat orders. Yeah. It usually leads to disaster, right? So, but yeah, we got Connor saying here, he says that dinner service was super late today. I don't think so, because again, as I've been paying attention to the time, it started at 7:26. I will say, speaking of, in fact, I feel like the entree specifically started really early, right? The appetizers were done literally within like a minute. What, Jonathan? Who was highlighted here? Jonathan, I think Atoya was highlighted on the appetizers.
Yeah, Atoya was highlighted on apps. I think Carmen was on apps too. I don't think they said it, but I think she was on the same side of the kitchen as Atoya. So, like, don't quote me, but I think that's where I saw her. She could have been a floater and just like going around, though. I don't know.
To be fair to Connor, I know like a lot of that was spent to freaking Sammy was flirting with the G-Eazy or whatever. So yeah, I guess that was
yeah, I'd be careful there, Sammy, because if you don't know, G-Eazy had a breakup with another pop star, Halsey. I mean, maybe between you two, but
she knows.
Them.
Wait, when this happened?
Oh, back in like 2017, 2018. Oh, okay. Like, if you're familiar with the Halsey song "Without Me," that's about G-Eazy.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that shows you how much I give a crap about that genre of music.
That's just stuff I know, though.
Yeah, I would never. Yeah, I just would care less. All right, cool. But yeah, let's go and get into the, no pun intended, the meat and bones of this of this service. So let's kind of get the red team out of the way. Lee was once again kind of highlighted, but the main person, a very, very interesting episode for Sandra, a very interesting service for her. So let's kind of talk about her, because again, I think Ramsey, again, that's what Ramsey does. I mean, she's very clearly, let me ask you this, Ultra, and this goes for the chat as well. Sandra, do you think Sandra is indeed the weakest chef on the red team as of now?
It's either her or Atoya, and probably it should be Sandra, just because, we've seen more of her mistakes. The difference between them is just that we've barely seen a thing from Atoya, either good or bad. And what little I've been able to keep track of has not been very good at all. Not bottom of the barrel bad, just not very good. So I think there is still a possibility that Sandra could outstay Atoya, just because we've barely seen a thing of her. Like, will we really miss much if she was somehow gone? I doubt it, but I could be wrong. Of course. And yeah, she's been Sandra has been pretty rocky in challenges and in services, especially, often giving a similar excuse of just, I can't really hear much. But I don't like, I have like, she's one of those chefs who I think is kind of weak, but that I don't have anything really against because I at least admire their determination and the energy they have in service. So she's at least got that going for her.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I said, her fight back's been great. And let's kind of talk about her episode because, again, I feel like, Ramsay put her on the meat station, feeling like, because Ramsay, let's be honest, if every service was perfect, they have nothing to show. So sometimes Ramsay does that, puts obviously the weakest chefs on the hardest station, right? And she obviously would be in steak night. He put Sandra on the meat, but I mean, it was very interesting, right? It was almost like, and that's the thing too, what it felt like to me, right? It was almost like Ramsay was going out of his way. Maybe you could like disagree if you want to, but like he was going out of his way to really push Sandra, really, make her feel nervous, right? When she brought up I forgot what it was. Like her first thing where she like brought up too many steaks, right?
Yeah, they were both correctly cooked. It was just too many. That's a mistake that happens occasionally.
Yeah, and then just in general, right? It just feel like he was on her ass all night about communicating. This is what happens, right? But in reality, again, she had a really, really, really good night. Only made one mistake. But other than that, really had a good night. Again, it felt like it was more Ramsay, more so kind of pushing her than anything, and like she got off track like a little bit. But like overall, it was a very interesting episode. I just kept waiting for her to crack. I feel like that's where they're leading up to, or for that matter, I kept waiting for her to to have like the performance of her life. And it just kind of felt like in between, which is, not something you usually expect, in my opinion, from like the clear weak chef. It's either like one or the other on a night like tonight. So, Ultra, what do you kind of feel about Sandra's episode? And chat, this goes for you as well.
I think that she performed adequately for what she had to. Like definitely better than usual because again, we've seen her on the block several times now from just past service deficiencies. But yeah, like aside from like I think a mistake or two, she was fairly solid. And I was trying to grade for myself, like, what would I grade this? Because she was, I think, the only chef in her kitchen who made mistakes at all, but she bounced back from them and her team finished service. So I have to take that as she performed pretty decently well for maybe the caliber of chef that she's been placed in. Because I do think she's still one of the weakest chefs, but for a weak chef, not a bad service by any means.
And I was gonna say, I just asked here in a second, everyone's everyone's saying 10th place right now. I just asked, the chat where Sandra will get. Like I said, and spoiler alert, it looks like she could be in trouble next episode. But what was I saying? So if she can get, that's the thing. If she can get past, I mean, I'm shocked she's still here, right? Again, she's on obviously thin ice. But if she can have a good service, on like the hardest station where Ramsay clearly thought she would struggle and have like a really good service, make only one mistake on the, meat station on the freaking steak night, we'll see. Again, I won't bet anything on it. Again, I kind of agree with most people saying she's leading next 10th place. I pretty much agree. And again, spoiler alert, probably if I had to take a bet, probably next week's boot. But, hey, we'll see what happens. This either way, I was glad for her. Again, I thought she was a dead duck going in service tonight. That's why Ramsay put her on there for that reason. And she did really well. So if anything, she's got that to go off of. All right, yeah, cook for your life. We'll talk about that when the times come 10th or 9th. Pretty much everyone's kind of green. I don't think anyone is saying what. Real quick, let me answer this question. The reason why I skipped season 6, Missy, today was because I did a entire video dedicated to season 6. So I was like, I don't want to be told. I might do it one day if I'm being honest, but I was like, dude, I don't want to be so freaking redundant. So if you could please give that video a watch, though, again, the greatest reality TV season of all time. I still think it's objectively the greatest reality TV season of all time. So that's much more of that gives much more honor to season 6 than any top video could ever do. So, yeah, all right, let's get back on track though. And one more thing I will say, yeah, it looked like I don't know if I haven't checked it honestly. I got like a copyright strike. I don't know if it's like it told me it was partially black. Yeah, I don't know if it's still there or not. It told me it was partially black. So whole bunch of stuff going on with YouTube right now, guys. YouTube copyright, and spoiler for my other videos as well. It's been pretty annoying these past couple of weeks, but doing the best I can. But yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. And what was I saying? We're on Sandra, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I got totally after. Yeah, I got on a tangent there. So any other comments for you about Sandra? Where do you? Let me ask you this: where do you think she's getting? What place is she getting, Ultra?
I think 10th is probably a safe estimate. So that would mean that unless we had a double elimination next episode, that she'd probably at least stay until the episode after that. But Yeah, I don't think we're getting our double elimination because we already have one technically with last week with Brad and Renisha. It wasn't really a double elimination, if you will. It was just like one leave in and one be eliminated by normal circumstances. So I do think we have her at least for another. She'll at least survive next week, I think. But then she probably goes home after that.
Interesting. So you think she'll survive next week? We'll talk about that when the time comes. Yo, we got over 100 viewers right now, guys. Thank you so much. Again, if you are just jumping in, wonder where Charlene is at. Again, just another update. She couldn't make it to her internet, and but we're still having fun. Again, over 100 viewers so far. A lot to talk about. And again, I know I just made this joke already, but I got to say it again now. Let's get into the real meat and potatoes, or in Jermaine's case, what the meat and freaking mac and cheese of tonight's service. Because that's where everything really happened. And Jermaine, of all things, was scared of the Garnish station, Ultra. We've kind of talked about this offhand. You've even talked about making a video on it. Different stations, usually Garnish, it seemed like back in the day, people used to be scared of Garnish because it was right next to Ramsey. But over time, nowadays, hardly anyone ever goes up from Garnish, right? I think you even have the stats to back that up. But Jermaine, of all people, just had a terrible night and even said he was literally scared of the Garnish station. So what happened to Jermaine? Talk about this for me.
Yeah, interesting discussion there because I've seen different people give different arguments about the stations, about which one's is and which one's hardest. And at this point, it's all down to opinion because what station is actually the hardest or the easiest is going to depend on who's cooking it and what their skill set is. Because I've seen some chefs in Hell's Kitchen say that the Garnish station is the hardest station. I believe that was said by Andrew in season 16. But I've heard people like Steve in season 20 say it's the easiest station. So who's actually right? Neither of them. It's because it's an opinion. Now, maybe it gets easier or harder depending on what the season has on the station. So that could be it. But at the same time, I don't think it really is the cooking aspect that intimidates people. It is the leadership aspect because that's also a prime spot for you to take lead. I've seen people get brought up to the pad sometimes or go to the pad themselves and read off tickets while on the Garnish station, and that keeps the kitchen in motion. And if you can't handle that responsibility, then Gordon Ramsay's going to notice that, and he's probably going to single you out as a weak link. Some chefs have actually thrived there, like Gabriel in season 12. Right. Then there's just other chefs who completely crumbled, like I think Manda in season 17. Hold on, let me think. There was
regardless, it's a very ambiguous station. It seems like because again, like you said, I remember. So it seemed like again in old school seasons specifically, people would really be nervous of that. Especially, I guess, it makes sense considering just how much more meaner Ramsay was back then compared to now. But again, it seems like at least I could be wrong, but at least recently, we don't see many people go home from Garnish, much less say they're actually scared of Garnish. You know what I mean? So that was just I guess Jermaine was in for a bad night once that happened, right? So. Yeah, so what he messed up the mac and cheese and some dish. I couldn't tell what the dish was before that, but yeah, really got the blue kitchen. Say what?
Garlic.
Okay, garlic. Yeah, really got the kitchen to the bad start. Jason of all people had to come rescue him, and because of that, the meat station really suffered from Devin serving up two bloody steaks, and ended up getting the team kicked out. So it always comes back to that Ultra. Do you think Devin, was indeed backed up by Jermaine? Because it seemed like, Jermaine that happened at the beginning of service, if anything, right? So do you think he was backed up? Do you think that was just mistakes himself, combination of both? What happened to Devin tonight? He was doing super well for a long time, and all of a sudden, he had a pretty disastrous night. What happened to Devin?
I do think that Jermaine probably contributes to that a little bit because, again, something that you hear a lot in that if a certain station is behind, it's going to put other stations behind as well. Often it's between the proteins, between fish and meat, because the meat times take longer to cook than the fish. But that wasn't what was going on here. But yeah, if you're not getting accurate times, then obviously it's going to it is going to make things harder for you. Also, I kind of agree with the person beneath the saying desserts is the easiest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've only seen 3 people ever get eliminated from desserts. That would be Carol Ann season 1.
That's so funny.
Colleen season 5, and then most infamously Jason Underwood season 4.
That's some terrible company. That is some terrible, terrible company to be a part of. If that ever happened, we've had Jessica obviously go home one tableside, right? That's happened more recently than the freaking desserts. I can't wait for the day that ever happens. I don't even know they have a dessert station anymore. I think it's called Floater, and just people just serve desserts at the end.
I think they all serve desserts at the same time.
Yeah,
like the entire kitchen together.
No one will ever go home from desserts again. All right, cool. So yeah, like I said, pretty bad night for both of them, but. Yeah, we talked about him last episode. He's finally starting to, really take control of the kitchen. Really got a big breakout episode last time. But oh my goodness, when's the last time we saw this great of an episode from, someone like Demir? I believe, Ultra. What? Is he the first best of the worst since like when? Like, do you remember when the last time Ramsay? Because I mean, he didn't like say it, but he pretty much said nominated to 2 people. So.
I mean, unless you count the Cook for Your Life challenges.
Yeah, I'm trying to service it.
I think season 15 then, because then you had Ariel and Jared. Let me just do a quick.
Yeah, I think so.
That's just to be absolutely safe. 19, no. 20, I don't think so. 21, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's season 15 because I don't remember anything like that happening. 16, 17, or 8, like any time after. So what did it say? Wait, yeah, there was in season 21. You're right, Grim. So there was that, but that was. I think that was for like winning, but like both teams won. So, I think it was Sakari and I want to say Daphne. Hold on, was it, no, Sakari and
you remember Sakari
and Summer, yeah, and but yeah, those were best of the best.
Well, hold on. Let me say, to be fair, the Cherry Night service, it kind of makes sense that someone's gonna like do the best of the worst on that one. It's only 4 people, right? Like, 2 people went up for elimination, right? So I still give credit to that. But like,
it wasn't best of the worst because he didn't even say they were losers. They were just saying that they nominate people. I mean, I don't know. Like, doesn't that count as a joint loss?
Yeah, I don't know.
But he didn't say they were the worst. Here was best of the worst because the Coalition got kicked out.
Really, and regardless, whether it's been season 21, more than that, it's very, very rare, for Ramsay to call. Did you think he was going to call him back into service for a second there? I thought we were going to see
Not gonna lie, I kind of did. I've seen that kind of thing happen a couple times before, like with season 9, actually, if I can think of it.
I thought we were going to see. We'll get to Ryan in a second. I thought we were going to see Demir be the Will and Paul and Ryan be the Tommy. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, that's I mean that flashbacks to that episode. Oh god, that episode again. Oh man. But yeah, what an episode for Demir, man. He just led his team. I mean, I see all these comments. He absolutely freaking ate. I mean, second time in a row he's highlighted. I know we talked about it last time. Do you think, and chat, this goes for you now. He's got to be top 2 at Jonathan, right? If not number 1. I mean, he has to be above like Sammy at this point. I mean, that's what I think. What about you? And this goes for you as well.
Yeah, because these rankings can fluctuate like all else. I know, like again, aside from his signature dish, I didn't think he was outright weak, and he at least owned up to it, so that's good. But yeah, like I'm incredibly impressed by how well he is doing because. You wouldn't have expected that from somebody who brought up their dish quick beforehand in the first episode. Again, except for Rock, technically. But yeah, like aside from him, like that's probably the best we've seen from somebody who did that on their dish. Again, probably Jonathan's probably still a little better just because I haven't seen him make one mistake yet anywhere.
And he's still got the winners added to me.
Yeah, he does, 100%.
JC Price makes a and we'll kind of get to Ryan now here in a second, makes a very interesting comment. We talked about this last week. I think we can all agree, for a while, again, for the first couple episodes, at least for the men, it was definitely Ryan and Jonathan top 2. I think now at this point, 100% Demir kind of took Ryan's spot. And we kind of saw, it was really interesting. I thought, again, when Ryan learned that freaking Demir, won best of the worst, all that stuff, he learned what Ramsay told him. He was kind of like really upset about it. And like I thought again when they showed him like walking out, I thought he was gonna pull a Tommy. He was gonna go back to the kitchen.
Too. I was like, yeah, he's pissed because he's like, what? He was the best of the worst.
But I kind of forgot what he did. But like he didn't even like make a comment to that. He like made a comment about like just like I forgot what the comment was, but he didn't like make a comment about Demir like upset about Demir like being the best of the worst, not him, right? It was. Do you remember what the comment was?
I don't, but it wasn't directed towards Demir or Gordon Ramsay. Right. Yes, that was just a misdirection. I'm not sure.
That was very, very odd. I thought 100% that's that's what we're being set up for, and that's why the edit had been this way to kind of show Ryan's downfall. Maybe not downfall, obviously, but Demir kind of taking over, right? So that was very odd. Let me see what the comments think. Chat, let me know what you guys think about that, because if you remember what he said, because that was very odd. I know you said something about like men, we have, you know what. I guess they just want to show him getting frustrated. Yeah, I guess he was frustrated himself, but I really thought, with the whole Demir thing, that's what they're going for. It should have been me, not him. Ryan's. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I guess they still kind of like trying to display that. Again, not a downfall, but just the fact that Ryan's no longer the top dog, and knows he can do better, and Demir's kind of definitely taking his place. Let me see if yeah, I agree. Ryan's kind of been forgotten about. Let's talk about Ryan real quick, I guess, because we have kind of talked about him possibly not being on a downfall, but kind of being overshadowed. Ultra, do you still think Ryan's a black jacket? And this goes for Chad as well. Do you still think he's a black jacket, or do you think he's possibly could be for an official downfall going forward?
I think the edit is sort of building up for him to have a downfall. Like it's not especially prominent, I should say, but unlike the first few episodes where I did get maybe a potential leadership dynamic from him, what Mario down there is saying, it's there is something about like an anger, or maybe that's a strong word for it, but like a bit of a temperament to him, to where he's gonna lose it, I think, at some point over something, like not a major blow up, but like crumble, and it's gonna affect his performances on the line. Sorry, I'm fumbling over my words. Because it's kind of weird that we're suddenly getting a lot less of him all throughout the edit, but maybe they're just trying to balance it out with people who've gotten as well, like Lee.
Yeah, it's very, because that's the thing. I feel like a lot, if I had a guess between like Lee, I feel a lot stronger Lee at this point. Again, I think the top four right now is still Lee, Sammy, Jonathan, and Demir, just who gets that fifth. So I can definitely see him, but I do kind of wonder if again, this is foreshadowing of like a downfall, right? You got JC saying, I get kind of Mark trajectory. I could totally see that at this point, kind of that person who comes out of nowhere. So we'll kind of see. A lot of people still think he is going to get a black jacket so far. But yeah, that's something to keep an eye on now going forward, at least from my opinion, right? What this means for Ryan going forward, now that Demir has kind of overtaken him, along with Jonathan on the blue team. What will Ryan do? Will he like fall apart, be overshadowed? Would he rise up over Demir or even Jonathan when the time comes? So yeah, we'll kind of see how that works. All right, cool. So obviously, kind of a pretty basic elimination. We'll talk about it, but Devin and Demir, the obvious choice, or excuse me, Devin and Jermaine, the obvious say, imagine if Demir nominated himself to get rid of Devin. Oh, real quick, I will say the edit kind of shocked us, made this pretty obvious they're losing. Did you think we were in for a fight at all for the blue team?
I thought like a fight, or at least a small confrontation. In the end, they kind of cooled it down a little more. Like most of the yelling was from Demir, and not in like a way of that you would find overbearing. It was more just, hey, I need to pump you up because you obviously should know what you're doing. Which, that's exactly how a leader should be talking.
Yeah. So I was kind of disappointed about that. I was hoping we'd see another big fight. Yeah, I saw a couple comments saying this was like the nicest episode of the season so far. Not really any big, fights in the episode as we had seen. So the kindness could be cooling down just a bit. But yeah, Devin and Jermaine as the nominees. I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious. Chat, this goes for you. I mean, what were you thinking, Ultra?
It was that. Like there was, if anybody else was put up there, I would have been like, what?
Oh, I meant who was going home. Yeah.
Oh, between those two? No, I was 100% sure it was Jermaine, because even with the mistakes that Devin was making on the meat station, it was Jermaine who, one, was screwing up first, was screwing up more, and who had far less of a voice in the kitchen. It would have made 0 sense on every level if Devin went home instead of him. Plus the fact that Jermaine was actually nominated in the last episode. That's another demerit against him there. Yeah. So if had Devin gone home, I would have been like, why?
Yeah. Did you think that, again, because that's the thing, remember, it is steak night, right? So that could have been the excuse for Gordon, right? It's steak night, you didn't deliver. I saw someone made the comment, it was like the bloodiest steak I've ever seen in my life, right? I agree. That was really, really bloody at the end there. So did you think he had, how much of Jermaine's terrible plea do you think really cost him? Like, was it already like 100% sealed, or was like, did he have any fighting?
Sealed. But yeah, hearing his plea, or lack thereof, when you really think about it, was just, again, if Gordon Ramsay tells you to give a name for who you think should go home, you give a name. It doesn't matter what it is.
No, it does matter. You don't get if he would have said something like Demir.
Well,
He
don't
should.
say yourself, obviously, but don't say I don't know. I don't know. No, say you. If the smart thing would be either to say the person staying next to you, or if someone was really dragging you down and you really believe that, say them. Because I've seen that happen before too.
I guess it could be that. Yeah, a lot of time that comes out of frustration. But dude, like Gordon, how obvious can that be? How brain dead can you be? It's a one-on-one. It's you or him. Say the person next to you. Like how stupid can you be?
Yeah, it's Sam in season 20. We had Elliot in season 19. There's like a bunch of, I know there's others out there who have been told who you think is the weakest chef, and they were like, I don't know. Oh wait, Rob, season 8. Yeah, same thing. I was like, dude, say a name. I don't care if you actually don't think you're stronger than Russell right next to you. It's you want to stay, right?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Who cares? You want to stay. Like, if you don't think that, then obviously you deserve to go home. But like, oh my god, it just how is it season 22? No, not even season 22. How is it 2023 and people are still like just give like the dumbass answer like that? It makes no sense whatsoever. I'm sorry. I can't believe we still see stuff like that. That's just oh man. Anyway, so I guess we should bring him up before we forget. Let me see him. Gotta go down the list here. See Jermaine. Let's kind of talk about Jermaine. Kind of in that spot. Kind of like not an early boot, so he's not super bad. Wasn't too strong, and it was kind of there. He was just kind of there this season. Kind of looks to me. So, Ultra, what's your overall take about Jermaine? Chat, what's your overall take about Jermaine? Any big feelings you have towards him? How do you think he would have done? How do you, made it past tonight or on a different season? What's your overall take about Jermaine?
I have no strong feelings about him in either direction. He's all right. Like as a personality, there's like nothing about him that I can say, oh, I didn't like that at all. But there's not really any massive positive highlights either. It's I don't know. That's a little bit frustrating. I don't think he would have lasted much longer had he somehow made it out of this episode. And it is mostly because the edit was so small. And I'm willing to bet it was small because there just wasn't much to work with the dude. He strikes me as professional. He strikes me as having solid line cook skills, even with this episode sort of going against the Garnish Station. But yeah, there's not going to be much about the season I look back and be like, yeah, I remember this happened with Jermaine. Not really.
Do you think he'll go down as most forgettable of this season? Over Claudia, maybe?
I think, yeah, because I can't at least remember Claudia's with her whole "What planet are you on?" America thing. With Jermaine, I got like nothing.
Yeah, chat. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Jermaine will or Claudia as of right now go down as most forgettable? Yeah, I mean, again, it seemed like a really tame personality. Seems like a cool dude. Would like to, just a guy to root for. But I just kind of the ultimate like definition of someone who's just kind of there right now. You know what I mean? And it's, again, especially with his placement, right? Again, not too bad, but not too terrible. It's just it is what it is. It's just kind of like he was a chef on Hell's Kitchen. He'll definitely be that. So who knows? Wouldn't that be hilarious if he comes back for second chances as a? I know we discussed that before.
I mean, Ro came back.
Yeah.
I heard from either of her seasons, to be honest.
Yeah, or even Otoya. We'll see how Otoya does where she finishes. Otoya for sure. Yeah. All right. Cool. We got some Claudias. Got some Jermaine. Yeah. All right. Cool. So let's talk about next episode. I have some thoughts about this episode because as we know, the final 11 is usually when the Cook for Your Life challenge happens. However, Ultra, I believe we are no longer getting the 6 people compete in total, 3 from each team, or even like 4 from each, or 2 from each team, whatever. I believe we are getting a throwback to season 12 and season 14, where Chef Ramsay calls everyone into the dorm. They ask where the weakest person is, and that it's a one-on-one Cook for Your Life challenge. Ultra and Chad, do you agree with that assessment? Because that's what I think.
That's what's going on. Like the promo does try to mislead you, saying like, no, it's going to be a massive freaking fight that breaks up the red team. And so Gordon Ramsay has to split out and say, okay, one of you has to go. No, that's not what's going to happen. Hey, I don't take anything against the show with that. I sort of love when the editing can be just so batshit out there. Just no, why would that even happen? It's like a fun idea of like, what if? But no, that's not happening. No, it is going to be, I think it is going to be more of a vote for who do you think is the weakest person on your team. And I like those kinds of Cook for Your Lives because rather than your fate pretty much being in the hands of just yourself and whoever puts you up, which is like one person. Here, it's like a lot of people. So you have to have gained the confidence of your entire team. And that does strike me as more crucial for the job. Because if you don't have the confidence of your entire team, then how are you going to get the confidence of a brigade for a kitchen you might run?
Yeah, like I said, it is what it is. I can obviously don't want to show too much. Well, I take that back because I believe, and spoilers for, I don't want to give spoilers away. Well, I guess I kind of am. I mean, let me ask you this before we give spoilers. I mean, did you see, because I think I saw who got picked for the red person, who got picked in the red kitchen, who was cooking by themselves. And did they show at all who was like by themselves in the blue kitchen?
I don't even think I saw either. So if you saw it, then cool. But yeah, I didn't catch it. I was going to assume based on, like, again, this is not based on kitchen shots. It's based on dorm shots. I was going to say Jason might have been picked because he was talking about, like, I'm going to have to outcook y'all in this challenge. I'm like, I mean, if he's not picked on his team, then I'm going to be like, really? Okay, I got the wrong idea then from that promo.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure I saw it was on red. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know if we should like give predictions in that case or not, whatnot. But
I've been trying to get away from that because I know too much.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: since you don't know, who do you think in chat? Again, try to be if you know spoilers, you can say it. I guess we're not, or if you don't want to say it, you can.
I'm not gonna be mad if I see spoilers. I know too much. But
so who do you think is gonna pick from each team? So Jason for blue, or
I'm actually kind of thinking Otoye and maybe Jason again, just because why would that competition happen at all if he wasn't picked? Because I mean that could be misdirection because funny thing in season 12 something similar kind of happened because you hear like after the final 13 when Jessica survives the block there, we seen the promo for the next episode. They're talking about like voting for weakest chefs. And she's crying, saying, "Oh, the weakest people, you picked me." And you think she's reacting to that vote. She's not. She's reacting to being nominated the episode before, which I thought, hey, that's actually a pretty clever use of misdirection there. She does happen to be nominated right after, so, not totally a lie. But yeah, I'm wondering if, like, at best, maybe that's what, I mean, Jason wasn't nominated here, but someone might have like an offhand comment. And maybe that's what stirs him up. And I could maybe see. That's what I'm thinking. Otoye and Jason personally.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to make this comment right now. Ultra in chat, obviously answer. Do you like the fact that we're going back to, again, speculation that we're going back to one-on-one cook for your life challenge where, again, like people name the weakest chef? Or did you like it better when you had more? Granted, it was kind of unfair for the great chefs who just kind of sometimes got picked by random, honestly. But at least it was more competition. You had more chances, right? So, which one do you kind of prefer?
Oh, I prefer. I mean, when I saw the one-on-one challenges, it felt more even because in season 14 you had Randy versus Christine. Christine was definitely the weakest member of the red team. Randy, I don't think so, but it would have been either him or Josh personally. But at the same time, like I wanted like he was the strongest member either. In season 12, again, kind of questionable for the blue team. They picked Richard. Why did y'all pick Richard?
And I think that's the only problem with this challenge because like people would go off like what just happened in their mind. So it wouldn't surprise me if someone like Devin just after a bad service, like you're going up, you know what I mean? So that's the only problem with like one-on-one type stuff when he's like clearly not the weakest. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of strong chefs right now. But that's the thing. That's the main reason why I like this because it does give them more justified elimination. Maybe something crazy would happen. We talk about breaking Hell's Kitchen. My goodness, could you imagine if like the blue team like knew this was coming and like they teamed up on like Jonathan or something or Demir to try to get one of them out? Oh my goodness, could you imagine?
I somehow doubt that would work, but
yeah, I mean I'm sure they would win, but could you imagine? So yeah, because I agree with Lucas completely. Hope we get more justified elimination. I just, especially this early, I'd hate to see, I'm sure it would never happen, but could you imagine if like Jonathan, somehow got picked and somehow didn't, produce 3 good dishes, right? That would really, really stink. I guess it is what it is, but, and, the one-on-one, obviously you have less room for error, but hey, it really does lead all down the chance, right? It's all down the marble. So I do really like that. Yeah, so let's go over some comments. We're 45 minutes in, pretty much right at 9 o'clock my time on the dot. So we'll finish up stream here just about kind of wrap it up. Ultra, do you have any other comments about this episode?
I'm trying to think. again, I do admire seeing Jason being a team player in general, not just having a good attitude during the punishment, but he was helping Jermaine out, and I think that's when his station got more under control. So points to Jason for that. I don't think we heard much about Jonathan at all during service. I'm gonna guess he didn't really screw much up, but he wasn't a very vocal leader like Damir was. I actually want to give props to a chef who we didn't hear much about during service, but I personally saw some stuff from, and that was Danya. Again, like I'm hearing her voice, and and she was listed, I believe, as having the best reward dish as well in the episode, which I think is like the second time that's happened, actually. So, yeah, like I've still got some stock in Danya. I think she could make it because you could argue she's one of those chefs who's seen as a strong leader who crumbles later on, like, say, Jordan or something. But I'm not getting that. I do think she can go the distance. Like, even if she's not the most prominent, neither was Christina Wilson necessarily in every service, and yet I don't think anybody had doubts that she was winning after a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, so this would be a good segue kind of finish off. We're not the Cook for Life competition. We got the weekly and gone. There's a really maybe other than Sandra, Devin's obviously needed to kind of bounce back. Who the hell is Atoya? Pretty much everyone else, like, I'm not going to say has like has like a strong chance of winning, but are very, very strong chefs. So obviously Ultra. Oh, by the way, real quick, who lost Jermaine tonight?
That would be Ruby. So now all of us have at least one person now, although you have two because we also lost Brad last week. But yeah, you've lost Melissa and Brad. I've lost Renisha. Ruby has lost Jermaine.
All right, cool. So spoiler alert, so now we got a lot of great chefs, and we talked about beforehand, but it's been a couple weeks now. Again, now we're at the big turning point of the competition. And spoiler alert for my next video this Sunday that hopefully doesn't freaking get deleted by freaking YouTube on the day I freaking publish it. I'll be ranking every final two in Hell's Kitchen history. So, chat and Ultra, now what is going to be the final two of this season? Now that we're 7 episodes in, final two.
I want to say Jonathan's going to be there, but I don't know. Like, I'm still getting stronger leadership vibes, and that is going to be what it comes down to by the end from both Damir and then Danya. So I kind of want to put more stock in them.
Damir and Danya.
Yeah, that might be a bit of a hot take, but okay, maybe not Damir necessarily, but if we're gonna talk about who's having both the best dishes and the best composure and voice in the kitchen, that is kind of the vibe I'm getting.
It's so funny how when I make the comment, like nothing happens, and then boom, like 20 comments come at the same time. We got Jonathan first. That's as I think it's been 10 seasons. It's got to come back. We get an all male final two. Jonathan and Damir after.
I would enjoy seeing that again just for the sake of like, hey, we haven't seen it in a long time. Why not do it again? It's kind of like when Trenton became the winner of season 20. It's like, yeah, it's about time. Like, I'm happy we had a long streak of female winners. It would get a little boring if it was just that for eternity, though. But hey, like whoever's the best chef, no matter what their gender is, if you win, you win.
For sure, yeah. So that's my final two. You got a lot of Jonathan's. Oh, we got a hot take from Grant saying he'll be eliminated the final 3 challenge. That could definitely, again, that could happen. Like I said, we'll see. That would be really, really awful. But yeah, so we could even get an all male final 3. I just missed that comment. It's going too fast. Maybe Ryan, bounces back and we finally. Wouldn't that be something? When's the last time that happened?
That would be because I'm pretty sure we've never had that. Let me double check.
Never happened. That's crazy.
No.
Ooh. Wouldn't that be something?
5, not season 6, not season 7,
yeah,
season 8, not season 9, not season 10,
no.
11, no, 12, no, 13, definitely not. 14, no, 15, no, 16, no, 18, no, 19, no, 20, no, and not 21. Yeah, it's. I mean, we've had plenty of female all final 3s, but
you didn't have to go through all those team seasons, remember, because a female won, so it's automatic now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm very, very excited. Again, I will say this episode is probably like my least favorite this season so far. I mean, it's kind of tame. The war challenge is kind of tame. Not really big any fights. Pretty obvious Jermaine was going home. So it's still a fun episode. Definitely probably my least favorite so far. But again, I will say though, Sandra's storyline was very interesting. And again, I can't wait to see now we are at this big turning point in the season, right? how this season kind of unfolds. Because again, we got some very, very strong contenders right now. So we'll see who gets the Black Jackets final two, all that good stuff. So yeah, should be a very, very fun finish. I say finish. We still got over half the season to go, but I think if this is Survivor terms, right? We're officially done with the pre-merge, right? Now onto like the merge.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you can argue merge is the Black Jackets, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. A turning point in the game, right? So,
yes.
Any other comments about any comments, Ultra, about this episode before we wrap it up here?
I think we covered everything.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, guys, thank you so much. A good 15 minutes. Once again, I'm so sorry we couldn't get Charlene. I know she probably is more upset than anyone. Couldn't get the internet. I will say, I know I've been promising this person. I wasn't Charlene, but I've been promising a different person from season 21 on our podcast. I'm hoping we can finally get that person on next week. Again, I can't promise. And speaking of that, Ultra, I mean, why don't you give the chat update on what to expect from you going forward?
Currently, I am working a swing shift schedule at work, so it's possible I won't be making a couple of these podcasts in the near future. I'm trying. I've had to take a couple of different days off to do that. I might not be able to do that for a few weeks coming forward. If I am, like, fingers crossed, I do hope I can. If I can't, then that is what that is. But that's at least as far as my personal life reflecting these vlogs with these podcasts. For my channel, though, I'm still working on this. I'm not working on this video yet. I've got other things in the mix first. But for Hell's Kitchen videos, I'm still going to be doing the top 5 Hell's Kitchen injury crybabies. Thank you, by the way, Jeremiah. And that's kind of like the inverse of the last video I made. Instead of like people who got injured but came back, these are people who didn't get injured, but at least claim they did, and in fact sucked as a result. There's surprisingly quite a few, actually, and I was like, yeah, make a video of them. And I don't want to be so mean to a lot of these people, but it is a rather pathetic thing to see in Hell's Kitchen. So you gotta make sure that like this kind of behavior is held accountable, because you don't want to be that kind of person in the kitchen or at any other workplace.
All right, cool. Yeah. So hopefully we continue getting more people come on, and hopefully you'll try to make as many podcasts as you can, because I don't want to be all alone, but we're hoping for the best. That's all you can do, is be positive. It's been a good season so far. Fun chat tonight. Again, guys, thank you so much again. Despite, again, I know Charlene couldn't make it, but you guys didn't. I was scared you all might leave. You once again stuck with me and Ultra, just babbling on for 52 minutes about Hell's Kitchen. What a great life, eh? Just to chat about Hell's Kitchen. And yeah, so with that said, hopefully Ultra, and for that matter, the guests I've been promising for a while, will be on next week. As usual, be sure to like and subscribe. Be on the lookout this Sunday, where I rank all final twos in Hell's Kitchen history. I'm sure you guys will be all over my ass on that video. My goodness, with those rankings. I always have fun with those rankings and how I go about putting them together. So try to be nice to me in the comments. But yeah, with that said, any final comments for you, Ultra?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you all next week. Have a good one, y'all. And we're going to